Hello, welcome to How to Scale a Business podcast. I'm Bridget Devlin, your host, and today I'm excited to welcome James Pratt with James Pratt Auctions. He is the founder and CEO and took the company from inception to doing close to 3,500 luxury auctions around the world. They are the first company to do cryptocurrency within auctions in the world, and James is a two-time Australian auctioneer of the world. James, thank you so much for joining me, and I'm very excited to talk with you.
Thanks very much, Bridget, for having a chat with me.
Yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about yourself and how your company got started?
Sure. Originally from Australia, now based in Los Angeles. James Pratt Auctions Group originally started out as just, you could say, upskilling myself. So I went from working in a great sort of franchise, real estate franchise, to then being one of the directors there, to then the next step is starting your own company. So the process there was just luxury real estate and upskilling myself.
I love it. And you're saying upskilling?
Yeah, like I guess you could say every step of the way, learning another skill. So then stop working for someone, you can actually then start applying that with your own business rather than just thinking, look, I've done, A to B, A to B, A to B for 5-10 years, and I'm going to start my own company and I'm going to do A to B again. It's continual learning. So when you start your business, you've got a bit of room to grow.
Yeah, I relate to that a little bit. I've noticed in my work that every week it's like there's a new theme and there's a new like pain point that I know at the beginning of the week I'm going to feel it, but by the end of the week it's like I got that part dialed in. What's the new thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a gym workout. Like once upon a time, doing like 30 reps was a lot. Now you do 35 and 40.
Yeah, exactly. So do you ever come across any like common myths about your job or field of expertise?
Yeah, those real estate reality shows are completely fake. That's not how a real estate day in the life of real estate actually happens in the luxury world. So that's the myth. Because I have had, like, the thing is, I think the biggest myth is a lot of people think in the real estate world, like, and I keep saying luxury, but let's say the more top tier market, it's you basically walk around, show someone the house, and then someone just offers you the money, and then you buy a new Porsche the next day. That's often the kind of perception on TV. The reality is there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, and there's also a lot of conversations that are not fun to have. I mean, if someone very wealthy wants this price for their property and you can't get them that price for their property, it's not something, that relationship is obviously tethered a little bit until you get that price. So they don't show that awkwardness as well, along with a lot of other things. But it's fun to watch reality TV too.
That's good to clear that up, I think, because especially real estate, like, there's probably so many parts of that job that aren't shown in the day-to-day life. I'd love to hear a little bit more what the day-to-day life is like for you.
So within the auction space, definitely it's a lot of conversations early on, like price points, working with the agent as well, the listing agent at times. So the listing agent will have a listing. Let's say the owner says, look, I want to auction it. And that's when we really get involved and then start to run all the elements of the auction. And that can be everything from like what time to hold the auction, where to hold the auction, how do you, what are the logistics when you have a company in Hong Kong that's trying to buy in a company name, and how does that affect then their ways to pay a deposit after the auction? So a lot of the, I guess you could say, the more admin work. And then obviously on auction day, it's about getting every single last cent for that home.
Right, absolutely. And what was it like developing your auctioneering skills? Is that something that, you learned on your own, or?
Yeah, it's funny because I kind of fell into it to start with originally, and it's sort of a niche market because some countries really promote auction selling real estate, and other companies like America, it's probably a little bit more of seen as a distress sale. So there's been a lot of I think training, but also where I've probably grown the most is just different markets help you build. So it's, auctioning a property with, 800 people wanting to bid on it is great. It's easy. It's like a Sotheby's art auction. But then when you've got, 5 people standing around and no one really wants to bid, maybe one person wants to bid, then that's a different skill set. That upskill of getting someone to bid, the urgency, the fear of missing out, all those things start coming into play. And just for the record, yeah, one bidder auctions are not much fun.
I was gonna say, yeah, that would be a tough crowd.
Yeah, definitely.
So you shared that you are now based in LA, and we talked a little bit about this. There's new work outside of real estate that you're doing.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I got involved with a company called Mogul Productions when they were starting out, which is a film financing off the blockchain company. So basically financing film through the blockchain and also getting involved in film production, which is another growth that I've really loved, especially considering that, life is short, to keep, I guess you could say, learning is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And what drew you to film? Was there a love for that?
I did study it back in Australia about the same time as real estate. But I'll be honest with you, it's appearing on a couple of those reality TV shows just unintentionally for real estate, which probably put me back into looking at how I could sort of, I guess you could say, keep running the company and also look to expand. So yeah, we can call it some pretty entertaining reality TV shows on real estate was the catalyst.
Oh, and so it was you watching real estate reality that kind of made you want to get into film a little bit?
It was actually me being on the show as
Oh, I see.
the auctioneer. Yeah. For
Yeah.
some of these reality TV real estate shows, which in hindsight was a lot of fun. But when you to sort of go back to your original question, what are some of the myths? Yeah, that's probably where my answer was saying it's nothing like what you see on TV. You don't get to do like 5 or 6 takes at an auction in real life if the camera doesn't like the reaction from the crowd.
Right. So. Absolutely. And so you also were sharing that you're doing some directing too. Can you speak to that experience?
Sure. There's a fun feature film. If you're looking for a kind of a Dumb and Dumber-esque buddy road trip, Malibu Crush came out a couple of months ago in the US, Australia, Canada, and France. So it's a fun comedy movie. 2 best friends on a road trip to find a girl that they dated. One of them dated for 2 weeks in high school, and they're obsessed that they think she's still going to be in love with them. So yeah, check it out, Malibu Crush.
And this is a film that you directed?
I did, yeah. It's you go, sorry.
I was gonna say, is this the first film that you've directed?
I did a documentary in 2011 called Summer Promise. Maybe it's 2010. I know it was completed in 2010, but I don't think it got released in 2011 for ABC. It's called Summer Promise. Very different, not Dumb and Dumber-esque. That's quite a kind of gritty look at issues with Indigenous people around the world. So I'd done that and a few other things here and there in the directing space, but this was the first feature film.
Wow, that's fantastic. Did you find that skills as, in real estate auctioneering translated well over into directing?
That's a good question, because I initially I would have thought there wouldn't have been too many. It would have been probably a better plateau to be, an auctioneer and then an actor or that side of things. But there's actually quite a lot of similarities. And also when you look at the people management skills in real estate and also your time management, I think that's probably one of the really great things to have in your pocket, regardless of your industry, but to be able to kind of manage your time effectively and also be able to manage people is great, especially in that directing role, because it's sort of every day is a different season, and it could be summer in the morning and then it's cloudy and winter in the afternoon as soon as some fires come up.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear, with both endeavors that you're in, what your vision is for the auctioning and for the film, what you see in the next year and beyond.
Well, with the real estate downturn, obviously, right across the world, Western countries in particular, you've got inflation, you've got interest rates going up. It's less of a seller's market, more of a buyer's market. So with the auctioneering, I think it's more just a lot of education on both fronts. First for the seller, like what to expect, but also for the buyer, obviously, an auction isn't a fire sale. It's going to still be very competitive. So that's on the real estate front. And then on the film front, I'm producing a film at the moment that should be out in about 2 months' time, month to 2 month, if everything goes well in post, which it is. And then hoping to gear up another movie. So I'm sort of living the dream at the moment. A luxury real estate market that's kind of like, fading a little bit this year. But then the film side is also a great way to keep my skills up.
Fantastic. And I'd love to hear like what do you see for your work in film, beyond a year? Do you have like dreams that you're hoping to accomplish or a specific type of project?
I think that the dream would be in the next 5 years is to set up a film production company with a slate of films, which is the new business model, quite a new business model in Hollywood. But to kind of fast forward and share that business model is, you have so many different streamers now. You have VOD, which is video on demand, SVOD, streaming video on demand. All these ways, if you have a product in front of you, that you can get it in front of an audience and a paying audience as well. Whereas 5-10 years ago, it used to be a studio setup, which is like you either had a film and the studio would release it and it would come out at the theater, and that's the only way to make money. Whereas now it's like there's a lot of really smart people in Hollywood here that they've recognized if you can make, smaller budget films, so let's say under 3 million, and you can make 5-10 of those a year, it's quite easy to get, 2x, 3x on those. And that adds up. So when you consider, you do say 5 films for 3 million each, but each of those films have tripled their money, that's a much more profitable way than say a studio, which is like, I'm just going to do one big film this year. And let's, fingers crossed, nothing happens to the cast or crew before it comes out. And that ruins the marketing. So having that slate of productions, which is something I've been sort of gearing up with working with different producers, which is, having that slate lined up so you're able to then just kick in, have 5 films a year, have them coming out, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. There's so many different platforms that you can get outward deals with. So that's the exciting challenge for the next couple of years.
Oh, I love that. And I'd love to learn like what do you think that path looks like from being where you are today and to having that production company producing that many films? Like, what are the things that need to happen between now and then?
It's a patience game as well. Just lining up, obviously, it's one of those things where you don't want to rush in and, do an announcement on Deadline Hollywood or whatever, doing 5 films and then it just fades out. Having all the pieces in place so that, you have like a crew in place, you have the cast in place, and then you have specific dates so that it's not like we'll make a movie, we'll finish it, and then we'll sell it to, hypothetically, Netflix. It's, no, we've spoken with Netflix. We've got an agreement once the film's shot by September, and then it's going to come out in January. So all these films sort of strategically are placed in a timing. Because the other thing as well is, it's like, the market changes so differently. COVID, that was such a dream for streamers. You had people forced to stay at home and watch movies. Now it's, if they want to buy content, it has to have a level of quality, because otherwise people are just going to be outside playing beach volleyball or swimming or surfing and not really interested in watching TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, James, thank you so much for your time. And I'd love for you to share how people can stay connected with you, or anything else that you'd like for people to know about either your work in auctioning and real estate, or directing and filming.
Yeah, sure. I mean, anyone can contact me anytime. From the auction side, just head to jamespratauctions.com. And also for the film side, probably the best to kind of have a look and see just on IMDb, check out Malibu Crush. Otherwise, just hit me up on Instagram, James_Pratt7.
Awesome. Well, James, thank you so much. Really excited about your journey and to see how the film journey evolves. And I wrote down the new release you have, Malibu Crush. So definitely going to be checking that out. And anyone listening, definitely check out the Malibu Crush. And yeah, James, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, Bridget. It's been fun.